Greetings, fellow humans. This is Jason Scianno with Limitless Wellness and Neurofeedback. I have been really reflecting lately and writing about inhabiting your life, reflecting on my own nervous system, playing with AI, and I wanted to share this piece about inhabiting your own life.
We are culturally conditioned to believe that enlightenment requires a pilgrimage, that to find ourselves, we must seek out remote, pristine corners of the world, where the silence is heavy and the air is thin. Or we expect it to wait for us in the deliberate stillness of a temple, spaces specifically designed to facilitate a state of meditation we can't seem to reach on our own. But real shifts are rarely that scenic. Mine happened while sitting in the driver's seat, staring at the oil stains and faded white lines of a grocery store parking lot. I had spent years treating my unrest like a technical problem. I read the books, tried the programs, and jumped from one psychological framework to the next, hoping the right logic would finally settle whatever was vibrating inside me. The constant attempt to categorize and explain my own existence had become a defense mechanism, a way to stay busy so I never had to sit with the physical reality of my own skin. My baseline for 2 decades was built on the scale and volume of live event production. I navigated riots and managed massive crowds, thriving in environments defined by noise and adrenaline. In the brutal industrial spaces of loading docks, I served as the line producer. I was the steward for the entire crew, responsible for their pay, their safety, and their ability to keep the machine moving. Eventually, the diesel fumes and the chronic back pain became an unsustainable load. My nervous system was trapped in a perpetual state of survival, wired to equate quiet moments with impending collapse. Leaving that industry was a basic survival tactic. I wasn't seeking a spiritual path. I was seeking a degree, a job with a retirement account, and a chair that didn't hurt to sit in. But removing my body from the arena didn't stop the internal momentum. The noise followed me into the quiet. When a system has been programmed for 20 years to outrun pain and loss, it doesn't trust stillness. My body saw a pause at 4:03 p.m. and signaled that I was falling behind, being exposed, or losing control. On a Tuesday afternoon, I pulled into a grocery store lot. Nothing about the day suggested anything was about to change. I turned off the engine and just sat there. My hands were still on the steering wheel, and I let the world keep moving on the other side of the glass. People were pushing carts toward their cars. Someone was loading groceries into a trunk while laughing on a phone. A kid ran across the pavement while a parent called after them. They were simply living. Watching them, the search for a deeper explanation felt unnecessary. Life was happening right in front of me, and it didn't require me to solve it. Sitting there, I noticed my mind was already racing toward the next task, but my body was just sitting. The compulsion to outrun the moment finally slowed down enough for me to see the mechanics of the friction. I realized I was experiencing 3 distinct layers at once: my mind, my body, and the part of me observing both. I saw my mind as an engine, constantly generating stories about where I was behind or what I needed to fix. It was a narrator that never stopped talking. Then I felt my body. It wasn't telling stories. It was providing raw data: the grip on the steering wheel, the depth of my breath, and the physical weight of my shoulders against the seat. Between them was the self, the neutral, sovereign observer. It was the part of me that could notice the mind's narrative and the body's tension without becoming either one. This wasn't an intellectual conclusion I reached through thinking. It was a physical state I finally inhabited by simply refusing to move. My core identity as a producer didn't disappear when I left the arena. I was still the steward, but I began managing a different kind of infrastructure. I took the skills used to organize a crew and began applying them to the internal system, to the heart, the nervous system, and the mind. The hypervigilance I developed in high-stakes environments became a way to read the subtle shifts in the therapy room. I used that old fight-or-flight energy to tune the psychological frequency of the space. Real growth happened when I used those hard-earned survival skills to serve stability instead of chaos. If you're looking for clarity, stop accumulating new frameworks and theories. They are often just another way to keep your mind moving. Physically halt your own momentum. Tolerate the silence of your current environment, no matter how mundane it feels. The external world doesn't need to be perfectly pristine for your internal state to soften. The parking lot is enough. When you stop chasing the next answer, you can finally notice that you have already arrived.
Slow down, regulate, and reconnect with yourself.